before 5 people call me. I'm like, what?
That's funny. All right. What's up, Facebook family? I can't talk very loud. I don't want to tell you what I've been telling people I sound like, but I've been sick the last 2 weeks, and I called one of my homeboys the other day to wish him a happy birthday, and he told me to call him back when I don't sound like Michael Jackson. So we've been gone, man. This has been, I think it's been 3 weeks since we've been on the channel. I've been sick the last 2 weeks. So as always, it's always good to be back. As I always tell you, Bishop, it's always good to see you, bro. It's always good to be with you. Always good to see everything you do in the community. So grateful for the work that you do. Grateful to know you. Grateful to see your power on display. All the wisdom that you have, just that you're available, everything. But I think in the wake of my pop's passing, the thing that I realize that I admire a lot about you is the way that you are a man in society. And I appreciate that about you, bro. Got a ton of respect for you, for sure. And so I appreciate you more than I probably could ever express, bro.
And the mutual feeling. The feelings are mutual. I told you, man, I said.
No, he hasn't been drinking. He's a pastor.
What's that guy on Star Trek? Whatever he said, anything background, whatever. Instead of saying, I feel good, I feel.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Dr. Seuss around this month.
Yoda.
Yeah.
Star Wars, not Star Trek.
Yeah. Oh, see.
That is truly hilarious.
And we got he's bigger than me, but my little bro Drew, and
your little bro.
Yeah, my little bro. And man, it's good to have you here too. Through the years, I've known you for a lot of years.
Amen.
20 plus.
Almost half your life, maybe, huh?
Just about.
Yeah. And just your perspective on life and how you see things is always encouraging. It's cool. So I'm happy to have you here and your voice just weighing in tonight. We just want to kind of catch up because it's been a while since we've been here, man.
Mm-hmm.
So much has happened. So much we've missed talking about, not just in our community, but kind of in our nation. And I'd like to, if you guys don't mind, I want to start off with something that we never talked about. We were going to say, but I want to talk about something that's fairly recent and it's kind of taken over the internet. And I'd love to hear your perspective on the thing that's happening with Gayle King and Kobe Bryant, the interview, the question, just in general. I'm going to turn this light up a little bit, and I want to hear what you all have to say. Everybody can't be light skinned, Drew. So, I want to hear that people can see you talking. You look like Idris Elba.
They say I look like Idris.
Yeah, no, you don't. You don't. Yeah, more like Seal. Yeah, it's okay though. So I don't know. What do y'all think? I mean, what do you have an opinion? Do you not? And what is it? We'll start off with that. A little controversy.
Yeah, it is a little controversial. My thing is, and what one person suggested was watch the whole interview, and I haven't watched the whole interview.
Okay.
So, from that perspective, I don't know the context of what she said, but I do, review what she did ask in the interview and things like that. I think that, that's the problem that we have with the Me Too movement and all of that, right? And even on, when you're on Twitter, it's not just her, but, it's a lot of these women, especially feminist movement is on the, cause I'm on Twitter a lot, and it was like a couple of days and a woman said, I held back long enough. Now it's time to say something about, all this other stuff, but he raped women and all this other kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's, only God really knows what really happened. And those two know what happened. I mean, you have different stories on it, but I think that a lot of times, kind of like that video that I posted,
that was so powerful.
That's what Black men go through all the time, right? And so it doesn't matter. It's kind of like Bishop Talbot Swan. I don't know if you follow him, but one of the things I like what he said, he did a comparison with Trump, right? He said, like, if I was to have raped 22 women and been accused of raping 22 women and all the other different things they've done, he said, I would have been under the jail cell, right? So it's, white gives you privilege. When you black, it doesn't. And when you say something like that, that goes all the way back to Birth of a Nation and so on, and how they always try to stereotype a black man, messing with their white women and so on. That's something that black men have to deal with for a long, long, long time since being in this country, especially, since being free and so on, and being accused of rape or looking at a woman, whistling at a woman, winking eye at a woman, whatever it is, and being lynched and locked up, put in jail and ostracized, all type of things. So when you see someone that is trying to play on that, like I saw her do, at least from the little piece that I saw, that's just typical Gayle and Oprah. Oprah, she's coming after Russell Simmons and coming after other black men, but she's with Weinstein. What is she doing? Is she coming after him? She make a video on him. They got on a yacht and watched Michael Jackson, the story about Michael Jackson and so on. So it's almost like they deliberately attack black men. And that's part of the problem. And I most definitely thank God for a lot of our black sisters that have been stepping up and standing for black men and calling out this injustice and this wrongfulness that has been done, because what ended up happening is that women think all women issues are their issues, but you got to understand that feminism is based on white privilege, not based on a person being black. And a lot of our sisters get behind that and run behind that, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work for black women. White feminism or even black feminism and so on. And so I think that, what Gayle did, that's typical. And that's the problem that we have with the Me Too movement. And that's, and because that took a ride and what's what they say, time's up or something they were saying that Oprah started saying and all that. But she's popular, and they're popular with the white folks. And that's part of the problem that we have with her. When they were talking about her running for president, I said something about that online, and these black sisters, they came in on me, right? About Oprah, when they were talking about Oprah should run for president and all that. I think it was a year ago, a couple years ago, whenever it was. And a lot of folks came in because they're like, you don't mess with Oprah, that's the sacred cow, right? You don't say nothing about her, you don't talk about her, whatever. But this is the problem that you have. This is the problem. She built a college in Africa, not in America, And so does she really care about us?
I think that, to me, I agree with that. I think the sister that posted, or the comment you posted on my page was so spot on, because part of so much of what, like, when you look at why a lot of black people are mad for how Gayle did what she did, is because it's over and over and over and over and over again that black men are being attacked by things, true or not, but because black men have been so attacked ever since being in America or whatever. It's like black men were being lynched for just allegations. I mean, let's not forget about Emmett Till, just allegedly. And then the lady comes way after the fact, after it was murdered and thrown in the water, she came back and said, I was lying. And it's like, so
lock her up.
Yeah. And so, I mean, so I think, so I hear, what do you think, Drew? What's your take on the whole thing?
Well, my take on this is this. I think that, there's a dignified way to do everything.
Right.
With the nation and the world still reeling and dealing and processing these, the loss of Kobe and those other passengers on that plane.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't have even thought about had they not been on the helicopter.
Or not.
So thank God for Kobe, because otherwise these accounts that had been filled up with tens of thousands of dollars, nobody would have ever known who they were.
Of course. And so it's almost like, you died in the shadow of someone who was huge. And I mean, Kobe's probably the top 10 famous person in the world right now. Like, and that's just, 20 years in the spotlight and all this other stuff. I think that, looking back on hindsight's 2020, I think, but before I say what I say, you also got to remember too, as black folks, we're our own worst critics. Okay. And we also criticize us harder than we would someone who ain't black, which is crazy, right? So, Black feedback and criticism is almost often a double-edged sword, right? So
Mhm.
you're harder on me than you are on status quo, right? So
Yeah.
But what I would say is they should allow a little bit of time to pass, right? Before you start bringing up that stuff. That's terrible. Like, the way race plays a part in it. Historically, the first thing when you look at history is that someone white will say something terrible about black folks, and they were presented in such a way that it was unfavorable as far as image and media coverage. And they would almost always do it the worst way possible. And that's nothing new for us as black. I mean, case in point, let something happen, and then there's a witness. Let there be an apartment building fire, and there's a witness. What that witness look like?
Oh, they always go to the craziest black person,
Man.
and then they make videos.
Right, it's right, and then it goes viral.
Thank God, or
Ain't
something.
nobody got time for that.
Right.
But the thing is like, since the media historically has always portrayed black folks in a less than ideal or less than favorable perspective, when you're black and you're also a member of the media, don't you do the same thing too?
Right.
Let some time go by before you start bringing up those things that, whether Kobe was guilty or not, I think is irrelevant because he's now passed away.
Exactly.
I posted something saying that now that, I think it's Michael Douglas has passed, they're going to, bring up the truth or the fact that he raped some 15-year-old young actress. They're going to ask his family members about that? Probably not. So we're going to ask about Kobe's. Why?
Because that's what society has always done. Black people have always, of course, but black people have always been the backbone of everything, not just building the society, but also shouldering all the pressure and all the hatred, and we suffer the most when it comes to crime, unemployment,
and
homelessness.
They expect us
probably
to forgive the fastest.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll never forget when I saw that, when I got the news that boy walked into that church and shot all those people up. Like, the very next video I saw was like the relatives of those victims saying, "Oh, we forgive you, we forgive you." And I'd have been like, never. Right. Never. Yeah. But again.
And the first time you would ever hear a judge say there's victims on both sides.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That boy got killed in Texas. And the judge wanted to hug the girl who.
Oh, yeah.
Amber Geiger.
It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, they would never be that polite toward a black person.
I think to me, I think that's the part for me that I think needs to be brought out. Like, I agree with both of y'all, man. Like when you think about how Black Americans in general, but especially the black men, like the Me Too movement, right? And here's what I'm not saying, right? I support anybody who has been historically ostracized that is now saying we need to get ours, including women, right?
Absolutely.
So I support
Absolutely.
the premise of the Me Too movement. Like, okay, now it's time to start coming out and talking about stuff. I get it. But what I don't like, though, is that I would venture to believe historically the greatest purveyor of sexual assault has been white men.
And
You know what I mean? And so my thing is, let's start with the root. Let's start with the primary cause. Yes. And so
not even close.
and that's why I think, again, to me, it's one of those things that you can't come back now and start a movement that harms because it's not fair. It doesn't mean ignore all the black trauma. What's up, Ramo? How you doing? It doesn't mean to ignore all the trauma caused by black people and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, don't make black people now the scapegoat to be able to deal with the historicity of trauma towards women. Because if you think about like all the things that have happened, including like white women's inability to vote until 1920, like all of the things that we see that are negative in America, if you think systemically and all of that, who created these systems though? That's all I'm saying. Like, who created the systems? It wasn't black people. Black people didn't create any of the systems that we see here that are, you know what I mean, that are harming people. We've never had that kind of power.
Not only did we not create the systems, we also didn't create the loopholes.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Like we also didn't create any of the policies.
Come on, man.
Nothing. Because you also got to remember, too, when you look at history, black folks were never intended to be a part
Come on, man.
of American society outside of being, property.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this. If a business is kind of going under and new management comes in, what does the new management do? Do they just
fire everybody?
Do they just fix little things
they
in there?
fire everybody and come in with a whole new management team.
Right. So imagine how much pressure it would be if you work for a Fortune 500 company, because America's humongous and the problems here are vast. They stretch every area of policy, every political area, criminal justice, whatever you can. I mean, America's problems are wide sweeping. And so when you look at fixing the problems in America, if you were to apply a corporate model, it would be unfair. It would be unjust for you to come in to a group of people who are underfunded, under whatever, and just like address that. The best to address that particular group, it's best to fire everybody, start over, so that you don't have the remnants of the people that were not just creators of the problems, but purveyors of it, that continue to make those things happen. And I think that's kind of what the problem is in America. We don't deal with the people who created the problems, and we give them a pass, and we historically blame poor people and people who don't have anything, which are historically Black people. And then now, recently, right, because immigrants didn't start coming to America until after Black people built everything, after the American descendants of slaves built everything, then immigrants began to come. And now they're being looped in to that stuff too. Indigenous Africans that move here, first generation Africans, are now being blamed and considered Black, and they're getting a taste of what the American descendants of slaves have been going through for centuries here. But what were you going to say, Drew?
Well, if you think about it, it's almost like, historically speaking, right? Because you got to look at history.
Yeah.
For the last, 250 years or whatever, 300 years.
Yeah.
You just have to look and see, like, okay, so America was started the way it was started, right?
Yeah.
Slavery happened, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say that because I think they called it a necessary evil, right? At the end of slavery was the best time for them to do something. One person came in, that dude died. Someone else came in and reversed everything back to the way it was. So in like 1868, 1870, somewhere in there, right? And then that dude, Andrew Johnson, I believe it was, didn't want Black folks to have no rights, no freedom. Oh, yeah. So then, and that's, so that carried. And then what happens is like, because it's a foolish expectation for someone to end or cancel something that they benefit from. That's just a foolish expectation for us. And that's what Black folks have been expected and fighting for. I want you, Joe White guy, to end this that you benefit from, and everybody who looks like you benefit from, and all your ancestors benefited from, and all your descendants will benefit from this.
There was a meme, and I don't know if it was on your page. I saw something today that said, "Dear white folks, we're not asking you to pay for what your grandparents did. We're asking you to get rid of the things something that like disadvantage everybody else that you get to take advantage of." So we're not saying that you have to pay for it, but we're saying is there are systems that don't allow anybody but you to benefit from, and we want you to address those and tear them down.
But like when I get so what I think about is like, here's how privilege affects population. When a person like me sees a young man get caught in the act of raping a girl and get 90 days probation or whatever, and then they don't slap him with a felony. So after this all dies down, his kid's name was Brock Turner.
And they just did that to a white police officer here, that they didn't file felony criminal charges for 16 counts of sexual assault or some misconduct or something along those lines. And nothing happened to him.
So they do that. And then when you look at it, just like you said earlier, all a Black person needs, if the wrong Black person gets an allegation they're gonna throw the book at them. Then they're gonna threaten me because I've seen and heard on accounts of people who I know have been in those same shoes. They encourage you to take a plea deal or they pin a felony on you because they don't want you to go to court. Why? Because we know court's biased. Little white girl, big black dude. Oh yeah, of course you raped her. Of course something happened. Of course this, and it was an allegation happened to a football player in LA. Ruined his career.
That brother, she lied.
Yeah, she lied.
A movie about it.
Yeah, she lied.
Ryan Jones or something like that.
Right. She straight up lied, and she, she ended up getting a whole bunch of money out of it. And he ended up having to go to jail and all this other nonsense. So they got her to admit it, and then they eventually. But you don't get that time back. You don't get to.
He missed a shot for the NFL.
He did.
They let him play for the NFL for like one game. The Falcons or whatever.
Maybe like a season.
The Falcons.
But the thing that killed me is like we live in a society as black folks that if you make one mistake, they gonna throw the book at you and you gonna have to deal with it for the rest of your life.
That's right.
So what my dad would have told me was that you better make sure you don't make no mistakes then. Why? Because you black. You ain't got it as good as your white friends. You think my dad allowed me to have toy guns growing up? And I grew up in Chicago.
But you had a scarecrow in your garden made out of a teddy bear, though.
I was gone. We came home to that. Pops he taped a dirty teddy bear to a stake in the grass because he was growing greens in the front yard. Wow, yeah, that's my garden, boy.
Bro,
I saw that.
Bro, it was a dirty teddy bear in the front yard. I said, dude, what's wrong with your dad?
I don't know what that is. Maybe my pops is worshiping the devil. Let me ask him. Yeah, what's going on, friend? Boy, that's my garden. That's the scarecrow. Bro, you could have carried me out of there. I swear.
So I think with all of that, and see, that's why. So just think about how we talked for 15 minutes about this particular thing, right?
Sure.
And this is just the pinhead of the issue, and all of these things are why a question that Gail asked are so problematic, and all the other things that we could talk about. And I think that's what people need to know. This isn't like some unjustified anger of black people just getting emotional. There's a lot of things wrapped up in why this thing is so.
But again, onus comes back on us, right? Especially as black men, right? You know, don't have no size. Don't look imposing. Don't be 200 pounds or plus. You can do anything. They're gonna treat you like public enemy number one. That's right. Rough you up, slam you all on the ground, all of that. That's right. So if you know that things are the way that they are, and I learned that as a teenager in Chicago. If I have any run-in with the police, they're probably gonna rough me up. So I better make sure that I don't have any run-ins with the police. Because the first thing my dad would do if he ever had to come and get me is ask me, what was you doing? I don't care about nothing else. What was you doing? What was your role in all this nonsense? Let us be out here throwing rocks or wheeling down the street or something and police pull us over because we on bikes and we obstructing traffic. Take us to jail. Someone kicked the trash can over at the mall. Security called the police. We all get took down to jail. And I ain't kicked nothing. And my dad asked me, what you doing with these idiots that's doing stuff? Well, we was just hanging out. Well, guess what? Now you're going to have to be grounded for a while until you learn your lesson. And I ain't do nothing. Then I learned myself. If I see some nonsense, leave. I want to be part of it. Why? Police going to have a bad day. Run up on me. I'm bigger than everybody. What they going to do to me? Hit me in the face with a billy club. Now I got to, you know what I'm saying? I look like the Elephant Man. Because I'm with this nonsense. So I got to police myself. That's the one thing that my dad drilled into me. Don't be a part of no nonsense. Because they're going to throw the book at you. First chance they get.
Don't give them a chance.
Don't give them a chance. So, luckily, I was part of some nonsense, do stuff. Never got caught being a silly kid and all that stuff. I go right in the Navy. My guys want to go out and party and drink and chase girls. What I'm doing in the jail. So I hear these stories about my shipmates and friends getting into all kind of trouble. Phillips, where were you? Oh, shoot, I was asleep. I worked out. I went to sleep. Oh, you Muslim? Nah, I just don't want no problems.
What do you think?
Right?
What do you think when you hear that?
It's accountable.
I like that. I like that. I mean, what do you think? What comes to your mind when you hear that?
Well, I was on the It's the opposite side.
No, but I mean that's why I want you. That's why your views is important also.
No, so why he told him, like, man, so that was my fault.
Yeah,
I should have just stayed off the street.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
yeah, it was your fault.
So,
No, it wasn't your fault, but blame yourself.
well, yeah, yeah.
Blame yourself.
So when you go back and you look at everything that happened, that's transpired in my life, and things like that. Most definitely, there were some things that were my fault, but then there was other things that weren't my fault from the perspective of what happened to me, right? If
After the fact?
After the fact, I'm talking about like minding my own business. One day, man, I was 17 years old.
Okay.
And I left early in the morning. I had my own, one of my homeboys, we had our own place on, what was that, 31st and 30th and I. And it was early in the morning, needed breakfast, right? And so,
Was that Golden Hills?
No, that's West Coast. That area is Stockton area. That's the Stockton area over there, right by Stockton School. Well, it's not Stockton. They don't call it Stockton School anymore. They have Stockton Rec still there.
Okay.
But I'm up early in the morning, man. Minding my own business. I'm not with nobody. I'm by myself. I'm going to the store. These police officers don't know me. Some of them knew me. They don't know me. They stopped me on the corner of 31st and Island, and I answered all the questions. I might have gotten a little snarky or whatever, a little smart from the perspective, because I think they asked me, what color are your eyes? And I'm like, my eyes are brown. You colorblind? Can't see? Same thing with my hair. What color is your hair? So my hair black. What's wrong with y'all? And I heard one of the officers, because there's an old man looking out the window, and I didn't see nobody else, but I heard, it didn't dawn on me what was about to happen. But he said to the other officer, too many witnesses. And I heard that, but it just didn't dawn on me what he was talking about.
And this is the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s. I was 17, so that's like about 79, 80, somewhere around the 79, 80.
Okay.
So they tell me I have a warrant for my arrest, and they say so you're under arrest. You have a warrant. So I'm like, okay. So they handcuffed me and put me in the back of the car, and on 32nd Street, 31st Street, Island, you can go straight and then go 32nd to the freeway, or you can go that way. But what they did, they started going that way towards Imperial. They started going westbound. And, as they were driving, I was like, this is the wrong way, juvenile home.
You started thinking, oh boy.
I still didn't realize what was going on. I heard them doing stuff on the dashboard and stuff like that. Still didn't realize what was going on. They turned down. That's before the trolleys run on commercial. They turn around on commercial. Big trains parked back there. And when they got me out of the car, their badges and everything was off. They didn't have no badges on. They didn't have nothing on, bro. And then they snatched me. Don't look at us. Took me behind the train and busted slammed my face against the train and assaulted me with their billy clubs and talking a lot of crazy stuff to me. I was scared. I ain't gonna lie. I was scared. I thought that was it. Yeah. And as quick as it happened, it was over with, right? And that was like a real messed up day for me. And so I remember my mom that was living in North Carolina during that time. And I remember calling her and saying, hey, I just got assaulted by the police. They took me to train tracks and jumped on me. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, go down and file a complaint. So I went down that's when it was on Market Street. I went down there and filed a complaint. And I met with the supervisor later on. And he told me, well, yeah, they admitted to doing that. They said that, you was getting smart with them. So that's why they did it. And that was it. But the point is what you were saying is that I know there are things that I've done. Like one time I got arrested for and had to do time over it, assault on a police officer. I did not assault that police officer, but I was there. I was with the person that did it. So you could probably put some blame on me for the fact of being at the wrong place at the wrong time, doing the wrong things, and so on. So I know that, there are things that we bring on ourselves when we wouldn't get in certain situations. We can control what happens to a certain degree or what happens to us, but sometimes you can be minding your own business. Mm-hmm. And that's not the only time, man, that something happened to me with the police. Mm-hmm. When you talk about what they do, one time they took my money, right? This time I did have a warrant for my arrest, and they took me to juvenile hall. And it's, when you have those summer jobs and you get, you go file your taxes and you get a couple $100 and so on. And I remember I had just a tax check. With the homies walking down 30th and Imperial, and they pull us over, stop us, and they tell me I got a warrant for my arrest, and I did. I got out of juvenile hall the next day, and I can't remember what it was about, what I had a warrant for, but I had a warrant for, and they took me down there, but they took my wallet, right? And I knew all my money was in my wallet, right? They took my wallet, and I said, hey, where's my wallet? And they said, we got it. I said, okay, I got my money in there. Don't, that's what my money is. They said, what money? I say, hey, man, I'm not playing around. My money better be there, And so you don't have your property. So when you go to juvenile hall, you have to wait till you get out. So when I got out and I got my property, my money was not there. And that was another complaint that. So I always say they robbed me. They robbed me. You might call it something else, but they robbed me. And so I filed a complaint on that too. Nothing was never done on that. And I have numerous of stories of times of where that, I didn't cause what happened to me. But yeah, there were times I was in the wrong place, wrong time, or doing the wrong thing and brought trouble upon me.
I just want to say this, because I get both perspectives. Like, I understand obviously, if there's a way for us to not get in trouble, then we should take that way. Like, I can't, right?
Absolutely.
Even Jesus,
now when you think about it,
but even Jesus said, like, you're blessed if you're not blessed if you suffer for doing wrong.
Right.
You're blessed if you suffer because you didn't do anything.
Right.
Like, there's something.
Exactly.
But I guess I don't want to lose the perspective of, I think it's unfair to say if you just don't get in trouble, you won't get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That is partly true. But I guess if we do if all of the onus is on me to not put myself in a bad situation, that only solves a portion of the problem. Because there are many, 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 many Black folks that get in trouble even though they didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And they're in trouble because of racism, mm-hmm. and because of the way America views Black people. Mm-hmm. There are many. You're not the only story of a person who mm-hmm. got beat up mm-hmm. Because for walking down the street, and like, it is not a crime mm-hmm. to tell the police to shut the hell up. No, it's not. No. Listen, I get it. Mm-hmm. It's disrespectful. I understand that. But guess what? It's also disrespectful for you to smack me upside my head. So if you get to smack me upside my head, if they get to smack other people upside their head, then what you've done is you've opened up the door to make it okay for that person to shoot you in your head. Mm-hmm. But if you get to do something out of pocket, why doesn't the other person? Right. And so, and I don't condone either one of those. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying we have to deal with the root of the problem. The problem is not just young Black people staying out of trouble. The problem is that racism in America is out of control, and that we have to do something about that. So I would say,
and I think it has to do with being Black and how they're trained to treat you, right?
Yes.
Because I just share one story, and I remember back during those days, one time, me and my homies was in a car. We weren't legal, everything legal, mind our own business, everything, didn't have no drugs on us, anything to go to jail or be arrested or even be pulled over. They pulled us over because we were Black, right? And the officer, when he got out, I was sitting in the back seat. When he got a car and came to the car, he started disrespecting us, right? And I'm like, hey man, don't talk to my homeboy like that.
Right.
But why'd I say that? Because I got snatched out of the car. Right. Handcuffed, getting ready to go to jail, right. and out on the street, not even have me on the sidewalk. But guess what happened? Those 2 complaints that I filed with that supervisor that knew me, he was the one that drove up after everything that happened. He see me handcuffed and I'm hot, He come and said, "What's up? What's going on, Cornelius?" And I explained to him what happened, what his officer did, right? Mm-hmm. So he go over there to the officer. I see them exchanging conversation. That officer that did me that way came up to me, unhandcuffed me, and he apologized. He said, "I'm sorry for what I've done." He said, "But this is the way I was told to treat you guys over here." No. I'll never forget that, man.
Yo.
So it is in their culture. And when they see a Black person and they see crime, they see a thug, they see someone that's dangerous, they see someone that is violent. And so now, of course, today, you have video, you have they have these body cameras, they have a lot of different things. To where that they have to be more careful in how they do things because now when you start to see the assaults are different, they say they start to see that more officers are being assaulted, right? because they have these body cameras, so the officers are on their best conduct, and from that perspective.
Supposed to.
Yeah.
You know why, right? Because what it does is it raises the accountability of the officer, not only officer, but the administration of the police as a whole. Because now, right, like because when there's body cams, all that stuff has to be made open to the public. So now people get to see
That's right.
what actually happened. So that reminds me. So when we've heard stories and instances of police brutality in the past, no one ever believed you.
Oh no!
Now they got body cams.
Exactly.
And then the truth comes out, and it was like, well, wait a minute.
But here's the thing, and then I want to get to maybe some of the folks that are on your page maybe want to say something.
Yeah.
And I want to acknowledge a couple folks that have spoken here real quick. But I just want to say, bro, think about this though, man. That's part of the problem though, bro. Those body cameras don't always work. I mean, you look at all the people that have been shot unjustified, bro, and it's justified because they don't care. It don't matter, dude. Like Black
It
lives.
tells the truth, and
Yes.
they still don't do anything.
It don't matter, dude. It's like, I'm telling you. So to me, that's why, like, I agree. I will always tell my kids, I will tell anybody, if you get pulled over by the police, don't talk back. Do what they say, because I would rather you be alive and I would rather you be disrespected, file a complaint, and it doesn't go nowhere, than for you to get smacked in your head, put in jail, or whatever. So
get shot dead in the street
Yeah.
like a dog.
I will always tell my kids that. But what I'm saying is, we also need to fight for that stuff not to happen, because it's not right. One of the sisters here, Zena, says,
that's one of our sisters, Zena.
Was she just here?
Huh?
Was she just here? Yeah, I saw her. Yeah, she just came to visit y'all. Yeah. Hey, Zena. So she says it's the same with us Latinos. Latinos get racially profiled too by the cops. And I've been saying this for a long time. And all the statistics that are quoted, every one of them is quoted with Black and brown people as considered in the fray, right? And that's why I always try to say this publicly to all of the dudes that I talk to about everything, that Black and brown people need to come together and need to create a real coalition. Because at the end of the day, that we cannot afford. White America feels the exact same. I would almost say probably worse about Black people. I would say that because of the image that has been made about Black people being here from the beginning, the created image, absolutely everything that's been portrayed. So I would say that. But at the end of the day, if we both go to court, we not getting no ain't no Black. If a Black and Mexican and a white person go to court, the white dude's going to probably fare way better than the Black and Mexican. There's no question about it. So I think it's important for us to keep that in mind. And so I don't know. So Drew, you had mentioned something, and then I want to finish on your. Well, let's talk about the report that you posted about on Twitter.
The report.
Because I think it's kind of goes in line when we're talking here. And then I want to finish kind of with some of the accountability stuff that we talked about.
Sure.
Yeah, NBC 7, I believe it was.
Or whatever you guys want.
Dorian Hargraves, I think his name is. Okay. With NBC 7, I did the interview like last Monday, but it was on, they did an investigation into San Diego Police Department, and they looked at just resisting arrest. Or what was it? It was resisting arrest or interfering with officers. So, but it was a misdemeanor that carried like $1,000 fine and so on. Okay. But what they found was that Black people were 10 times more likely to be arrested for the sole purpose of resisting arrest. And so no other charge, just resisting arrest. And you wonder, how does that happen, right? And so I was giving them some scenarios of how that happened. But basically, whenever you think Black, you think crime, and we know all the time. See, my thing, and like I share with them, and it goes back to what Drew was saying, it goes back to the point, like, when we hear them say, stop resisting, we know we're not resisting, but we know why they're saying that. They don't want to just arrest you. They want to kill you, they want to assault you, you know what I mean? Right. And so we understand and we know that that's one of the typical things. And it goes back to even my experience, right? When I get a little smart about, the color of my eyes and color of my hair, and so if you say anything other than yes, master, they're going to be ready to throw down on you, right? Simply fact because they see you as black and they see crime, they see violence, they see danger, they see somebody that needs to be put in check right now. And like that police officer told me, and I don't believe nothing has changed. This is the way I was told to treat you guys over here.
There's no question.
Okay, so one of the things that I always thought that would probably, be probably the smartest thing you can do is be respectful toward the police because they are authority, right?
Sure.
And they, they're here for our protection. Period. And I guess you can't, the police or with a broad stroke, right?
Yeah, I agree with
It's
that.
literally, of course, 3% of those guys are ridiculous, and the other 97 are stand-up people, right? And so.
No, I believe that, just to interject, I believe that, it's way more than that because it's in their culture and it's in their practices on how they police the community. But I believe that what you're saying is that most of them do want to do the right thing. But what is the right thing based on the implicit biases that they have?
Right. So what I thought would probably be the most productive is if more black folks did get involved with the authority. If there were more black and brown participation in the police force, because what kills me is when you read these studies on how lopsided these stats are as relates to the treatment and the welfare of brown and black people and white folks. These police officers are 90% white, and I'm thinking to myself, why come ain't no black folks applying for these jobs? How come ain't no black folks participating in law enforcement and that sort of thing? And I started looking at myself. And I was just thinking, well, I probably could have been, went into law enforcement, did all that. I just didn't think the money was worth it. That's why I didn't do it.
I just don't. I guess I agree, kind of, but I also think to maybe use that scenario as a way to fix the problem, I think is like, I want to say ridiculous, but not ridiculous. I don't know. I can't think of the right word to use, but here's why though. Like, if you figure there's 3,000 police officers, right? San Diego is 80% white, 70% white.
I think they have like about 1,800 to 1,900. I think the max they're trying to get to is 2,200. Okay. And I think it's like, I'm not for sure. I don't have the latest post, but last time I looked, I think it's like 1,800 to 1,900 officers they have right now.
So you got 1,900.
San Diego police. Yeah.
San Diego is 80% white, 70% white, whatever. You got 6% black. Couple things. One, there's not enough black people to go into the system to be able to act. The only way, like if you look at Atlanta PD, I wonder what the Atlanta statistics are. Because Atlanta PD, everything's black in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Most of their police department, their fire department, everything is almost all black. Mm-hmm. And I would be interested to see like what it was like there or whatever. Even in Chicago, where you have large numbers of black people.
Oh, still, but predominantly white.
So let me just say this though, is that, when you look at the stats and you look at how many black police officers that San Diego police have, they have way more percentage police officers than they have the population based on blacks, and black population 6%. But they have way, I forget what it is, but they have way more than that black folks in police. And then now just recently,
like and 12% of the police force is black or something like that.
Yeah, but I think I don't know where it is, but I know it's high. But the other thing is that they have they have 10 divisions that I'm aware of, 10 police divisions, and 3 of those divisions have black captains, right? On the 7th floor, you have about, I forget how many assistant chiefs. What is it, about 5, 6 of them? I could be wrong, just off the top of my head, but I know they have 2 black chiefs where they didn't have none up there, right? And some of these chiefs I know, assistant chiefs I know that they're based on knowing they're good guys and ultimately they want the right thing to be done, but they can't change nothing. They can't, because you're talking about
there is
a culture. It's embedded in there. And if they try to change or speak up or say anything, they get fired. I talked to sergeants and so on that seen unjust things happen, the black sergeants that seen unjust things happen and try to speak out about it, and then they get retaliated against. So it's a culture of that blue wall of silence. And it's a culture there that you cannot just bring black officers in to think that that's going to change it. You have to change that culture, and it starts with leadership, and it starts, of course, with laws and policies. And thank God for our sister Genevieve, right? Because she's sharp. But she was sharing with me the difference between policies and ordinances, right? So we really need to change city ordinances versus just policies within the police department, so that you can make sure you're holding them accountable to the things that they're doing. So you got to have that. You have to have someone in leadership that's going to come in and, like you were talking about, the takeover. We need a chief that's going to come in, and it's going to be like a company takeover, right? Where they come in and they get rid of these guys, and they bring in their own team and hire some good guys, maybe hire a lot of people from other places that have a record in demonstrating that they're for community-oriented police, they're for building trust between oppressed and marginalized communities and the police.
I'll tell you just real quick, because I was talking to some people that were a part of an organization, a larger organization that's a community service, that's a public service, public safety organization. And one of the leaders there grew up in this particular thing, but grew up in this particular entity, if you will. And during his time as the chief, brought in other people from other departments to head specific aspects of this particular entity that was kind of one way for a long time. Real diverse in the way that they serve, and I'm purposely not bringing up the name for a reason, but the point won't be missed.
Okay.
So it was really vast, very good department, very good the way that they did their work and stuff like that, but they were missing in certain areas.
Okay.
And so he brought in people from other agencies that specialized in that to come in and, we look like we stopped.
Yep.
What just happened? How did we, we just stopped. His joint just cut off on us. How?
Facebook about to cut us off.
Hey, dude, that's crazy. Hey, it just cut off and we still online. Maybe they did cut us off. Yo.
It says no videos currently. Now it says live again.
So are we live? Nah.
Okay, click on
Oh yeah, it just went off again.
Oh.
Now it's back on again. Every time you click on something, it comes back on.
So
Okay, when you do that, it's back on. Then it's off. Wait a minute, you're not doing anything. Why it keep going off and on?
I don't know. That is crazy.
Yeah, it keeps rewinding back. Oh, it keeps going back.
That's crazy. We just got bamboozled. We got hoodwinked.
So it's not there, huh?
No, let's see. We're still on YouTube though. Okay, cool. Well, YouTube still kept us, so that'll work. Let's go live again. And,
Let's go live again and finish your conversation.
refresh the video, Jim. Right there. No? Yeah.
Wow, that is odd.
Go live.
That is really weird. Wow.
So we gotta do it again.
Yeah, I got so much feedback on this thing. It's crazy.
It go crazy. You don't know what we talking about. Two things.
Seriously. That's odd. Okay, let's go back on.
Yeah, wait.
Wow.
Did you have any of these?
Oh, I will. That's crazy. Hey, sorry about that, y'all. I don't know what that was. We got a few more minutes, and we're gonna get up out of here. Let me tag her. That is odd. It just cut out. I don't know what that was about. That was very odd. That has never happened before. But hey, that's the way life is. We don't complain. We just overcome. So seriously,
That's right. That's right.
I mean, it's
That's right.
whatever. At the end of
That's
the day,
right. We can have it. We
Yeah.
can readjust. We
So-
can readjust.
So the video just cut
But
out.
you were talking about that new company though.
So the
I mean,
company-
not new company, but
yeah.
bringing new people from other places, specializing.
So
yeah.
so the whole point, and we're talking about what we're talking about is what was just brought up. Drew just brought up, hey, why don't we just become a part of the system and things will work out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, like it's not enough to just become a part of the system. And I was talking about how this entity that I know brought in, they needed to make some changes to be able to serve better and to do things in different areas that were a big deal. You know, we had these particular problems that we weren't prepared. We would seasonally look at these issues and then we put them back in the backburner until the season came around again. And so he brought people from other agencies to come in to build, and he got severely criticized for doing that. And what I would always tell people is who that was brought up in your system, who that was raised in your system is going to be able to change the system.
Exactly.
They've been brought up. This is a part of their culture. That's the reason why it's not enough to say, just have some black people join the police department and everything will be okay. Because what's going to happen is you're going to come in and you're going to be one of 1,900 people that feel a particular way. And here's what I will say. I bet you the way that they're trained is different than the way that they actually operate.
Right.
They're not trained to do, but when you get outside in public safety things where you have autonomy, where you're able to kind of go out and do things on your own, you automatically adapt to the culture. It's the culture that raises you. It's not your training.
And here's the thing: the only way you're going to be promoted, excel, succeed within these companies is in America society, based on how the systemic racism is set up, is that you're not considered American until you can act white. And so the thing that I found, and this is a problem we have in San Diego too, and I'm seeing it more and more, is that even black folks that are head of organizations that can have impact in the community, they think like white people, right? And that's why they got into the positions that they are in. And so therefore they're not.
Do you really believe that?
Yes, I believe that. They act like they fall right in line with systemic racism and the way it's designed and set up to be against or to marginalize the oppressed, the underserved, whatever term you want to look at, with black people in our community. Yes, I do.
I don't agree.
And because let me tell you, you cannot. And I've said, well, I've seen it. I've seen how people think and how they view things and look at things when they get at the top. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, that's why we have a problem in this city. That's why we can't fix anything, even when we say, get black people in there, right? Because for the most part, when you get black people in there, they got to do what the system wants them to do. Not so much what they want to do. And but they think that way. And I don't want to insult anybody's intelligence or anything like that. I don't mean it that way. But a lot of times, even the way you get educated in these schools, they don't educate you to think for yourself. They educate you to fall in line with the system. And so when we, at the end of the day, when we look at it,
high school.
No, college show.
Oh, no.
College show.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If these folks
I respectfully disagree.
if they were taught to think for themselves and to be able to really get why we have so much problem.
All right, so I can tell you the exact answer to that. You want to hear it? Accountability.
Break that down. Break that down
to you and what you do and your actions that you do. I ain't no smarter than nobody else.
Right.
I went to college. College is the place where they foster free thinking and all this, especially these liberal arts colleges, right?
But you think liberal, you don't think free, you don't think independently, you don't think for yourself.
Yes, you do.
You think the way the system wants you to think, whether it's liberal, whether it's conservative, whether it's Democrat, whether it's Republican, whether it's whatever facts they give you.
So let me ask you a question. Where did you start to do your college studies at?
City College.
Do you think the way they want you to think?
No, because I stopped.
Do you think if you'd have taken all the classes that you could have taken towards your degree and whatever it is, you think you would have thought the way white folks wanted you to think?
I wouldn't have been able to think for myself if I would rely solely on that. I'm not saying that a person can't.
Then that's on you.
I'm not saying that a person can't independently.
Then that's on you. Then,
in spite of that education, think for themselves. But I'm saying that these institutions don't teach you to think.
Let me tell you. Here's what I told my daughter.
Let me ask one. Then that means that in all that, college that you went to, you did yourself a disservice if you didn't learn how to think for yourself. All the classes,
So-
all the hours, and all the effort.
So so here's the thing though. Here's the thing. And I think, and again, if you're brought up from the time you start school, you've already learned how to feel about Black people. Why? Because my daughter came home the other day and told me, Dad, they started this video off in my class talking about Black history, and they started at slavery. That's where they started. They don't go back and talk about kings and queens and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They don't do that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you start off in grade school
Mhm.
and you go all the way to senior high school being indoctrinated to think a particular way, and it's slick, because it's not like they tell you that Black people are losers and
Mhm.
y'all are stupid. They're not, but they're not telling you that you're not.
Mhm.
And so that mixed with the way that the other public service agencies and stuff like that act, the way the governmental systems are set up, what you're not being taught and what you're seeing creates a particular product that spits you out at the end of your senior year in high school or whatever. You go into college and a free thinker in what way? Now here's because this is what I say to you a lot. Like, you are, and I've known you for a million years. You are atypical. You're not you see yourself as just an
Everyone is not Drew.
Listen. Let me just point out some things that make you atypical.
Okay.
Number one, you're 5 times as big as anybody else. Most people in San Diego. Most people in San Diego don't. It seems stupid, but there's your discipline, your personal discipline. You and Bishop Bowser are 2 of the biggest dudes that I know. I'm not saying there's not other buff dudes here. I'm just talking about you're different that way,
Okay.
right? Physically fit. You went to college. You graduated from college and you studied political science and you played with a scholarship. You got your college paid for. You were United States Navy. You traveled the world. You did all right.
Mm-hmm.
You came from poverty,
Mm-hmm.
and you made some decisions to turn your life around to do different.
Mm-hmm.
To you, you're saying, hey, why don't everybody just do that then? What I'm saying is, everybody don't get to just do that because everybody's not like you. And I think that there's a, and I'm not doing away with personal responsibility. That's what we talked about earlier today. Like, my life, I live the kind of life right now for multiple reasons. One of which is because I never got caught doing the things that I did that would have ruined my life. It was by the grace of God that I didn't go to jail. You know what I mean? There's some things that I've done in my life that, you know what I mean? And I ain't gonna say it right now just in case they bring this video back, but I should have went to prison, right? But I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I always got to remember that. But then I also did, yes, I made some choices in my life. I got sober and did some, and that was because my mother sat me down and said, you either get sober or you get left here. I'm moving and I ain't taking those alcoholics with me. You know what I'm saying?
Ultimatum.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So guess what I did at 15? I stopped drinking, right? So, and I realized that everybody at 15 don't get to do that.
That's right.
I also didn't come up during the era where heroin and opiates and all that were a big part of the scene because who knows what would have happened. So some of it for me was timing. The other thing is that, like, I made some career choices and people stuck their necks out for me to get me plugged in. I say all that to say, I realized that I'm not necessarily the typical guy. I'm not saying that I'm any more special, but I just didn't have the same kind of circumstances that somebody else did. And I think that's the same with you. So I think along with the pull yourself up by your own bootstraps mentality, I would say remember that you're atypical, and it's important to remember that when you're asking people to do things that are atypical. Because if working out and getting buff, I want to have big arms like you and Bishop.
Right.
But why don't I have big arms?
Genetic.
Nope. Shut up. Why don't I have big arms?
Because you don't live.
Because I don't work out.
And you don't want to.
Don't want to. But I want bigger. So my whole point is that could I get them? Yeah. Because my arms, they're all right for a guy that don't work out. For a guy, I never work out. I'm genetically predisposed to be big. I could be big, but I don't work out. I don't do the work. But people, so you see what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I just want you to like remember that, like as we're building things, to like remember that everybody's not disposed the same way you are
So
to be successful.
But let me just say, I just want to reiterate what I said in regards to what we were talking about, is that in San Diego, and from what I've been seeing, the few that I've seen of Black people in top positions that could actually lead for change and that can actually turn things upside down and around for our communities. From what I've seen, been in meetings, seeing decisions they've made, seeing discussions that they're having, seeing the questions that they're asking, and seeing the moves that they're making, says to me that they think just like the rest of the folks.
Who aren't Black.
Yeah, exactly.
Who aren't Black.
And that's and this could be an assumption, but my assumption is when I see that is that that's how they got there. Because if you do think for yourself, if you do come in to try to change things that's really going to help people, then they're not going to put you in there.
All right, so I think. Wait, let me backtrack a little bit. For someone, and to kind of stem off what we briefly discussed earlier, you got to have the discipline to get to where you want to go. Why? Because there are a million distractions here, right? Period. And then secondly, once you get to where you want to go through hard work, dedication, networking, a little bit of luck, right? But you get to the position that you want to go, and then you thrive in that position, and then you become successful. I mean, what is success? What is sex? No.
Success.
You didn't learn that in college?
Success.
What is success based on? Success is based or measured by their standard.
Who's that?
The people who run and own and control what you're trying to be a part of.
I 100% agree with you.
Period.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, so when you're Black, you're a minority and you're reminded of that. The higher you get, society reminds you of that.
Yeah.
Like if you're one of those people like me, like I sometimes take a poll in my head. I mean, Black folks in here. You know how many times it'd be like none?
I'm the only one.
Or if you do see somebody Black, and once you reach a certain level in your career, the other Black person you see is usually like a custodian or the person who serves the food, something like that. And they be super relieved, almost proud to see, oh, I got a brother up and down you. What's going on, bro? Trying to be like you. He used to be trying to get like you. But I see all that, and it's almost like, for me, if I can make the choices necessary, right? And hold myself accountable and have the discipline to do what I need to do.
And still think for yourself,
and still think for myself and do what's best for me and those who depend on me to provide for them. I'm gonna do what it takes. And I won't make no excuses if I don't make it, if I don't reach that.
Right.
Period. Just like we was talking about earlier, right? You cleaned up your act at a young age. You go out and you go to the barber school, you become a barber. Then you say, hey, I want to become a paramedic. I'm going to become a paramedic. Then you say, okay, now I'm going to want to become a firefighter, but the brother claustrophobic. We ain't going to talk about that, huh? Oh, man.
He's like, yo, so okay.
But we're going to deal with it. Have me out there in the travel trailer.
Right now.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Have me out there. I'm 250. Drew, come with me in this travel trailer. They gonna put some smoke in this room. I don't want to go here by myself. Hearing her screaming. Drew, I'm scared. Boy, if you don't get your ass out of my face, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
He's lying.
We was in the parking lot off of 60th and Alcohol Boulevard. That used to be a family fitness center. Now it's behind what used to be it was right there. I'll never forget that because there was a Bonds in that parking lot. We was on the back side of that. We was on the back side of that. And I remember crawling through, like, I remember we had to do this training in the Navy. And those,
So you used to,
because I support my boy. We're going right along with all this, fat people need to, cut the wall down to get out, all kind of stuff. Long story short, if you're willing to do what's necessary, if status quo, right, is you got to have this, and these qualifications to do it, do that. And then once you get where you want to be, you turn right around. Because us Black folk minorities, we represent inclusion and diversity. Period.
But do you think? Do you think that everybody? First of all, what's up, Perry? Perry's over here laughing. Perry said you got her laughing. That's everybody loves Perry. What's up, P? You know, and she says, I love to listen to Man Logic. She said, I love men. That's Perry. She's one of the smartest sisters in San Diego. So let me just ask you this though, Drew, just because I get what you're saying, and I don't want us to go too far past our hour, but no, it's no problem. People watching will talk. I mean, for a little, but I just wanted to ask you, like, I understand what you're saying. I just think that in some ways, like, am I wrong to think, like, I think that some of the opportunities that I've been given in my life, i.e. not being arrested for doing things, like I've avoided the police, right? Or the grace of God, or
grace of God, wherever you want to call it.
So that's one thing that was in my favor.
Okay.
And that and one of the other things that we talk about is part of the way that I was able to get the career that I have is because I believe in networking.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm a networker. So I go meet people. And so people, you know, I told people what I wanted to do, and I understand the value of meeting people that allow me to get into certain spaces that I might not be able to go or whatever. And so because of that, I'm allowed in to certain areas, right? My dad was like that. My dad was like the mayor in Minnesota. He knew everybody. So I knew that if I lived in Minnesota, I could go to Minnesota with my dad's reputation and get go and do whatever I wanted simply because. So I said, well, I need to create that where I'm at. And so I was like, man, so that I can tell my kids and you see how that works. Who you need to meet? Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna start taking you where we need to go. That's what we do.
I'm meeting the people from Turner tomorrow.
See,
because of you.
See,
and our relationship.
See, and so I. But here's my point though. Do you think that everybody has the natural capacity? And this is what I'm gonna ask y'all. Has a natural inclination to
do what they want to do. The answer is yes.
To be you.
No.
Naturally. Can anybody do what you've done?
No.
What can somebody naturally do in this thing? Anybody. When you go talk to somebody young, what do you tell them? Or old, I guess.
I was talking to a brother yesterday, 22, told me, just started at Mesa College, just got off the Marine Corps. I said, man, you sound just like me 20 years ago. Here's what I would tell you to do. Go to school. Apply yourself academically. You're going to play football, be out there, and just be a cut above everybody else. But lead by example. And if you get an opportunity to play at the next 4-year level, go and play. And I told him, and I thought about you, I said, a dude whose opinion I value as much as my own told me to go where they want me the most. So I went to school no one ever heard of. What school was that? McMurray. You ever heard of it? No? Exactly.
Who drove you there though?
You did.
Who drove you there though? And what did we do?
You drove me to Illinois. You didn't drive me to McMurray.
Okay. What's the difference?
Just to be clear.
But what did we have to go through in order to get there?
We rode down on the way to your family, coming back from your folks.
Then what happened?
We could have went straight to Chicago.
What happened?
Minnesota's 10 hours from Chicago.
But what happened though?
I broke down.
Okay.
So I almost got kidnapped. Long story short, let me get back.
Chaz is on there talking.
Jason said, go where you want it. Go where they want you the most, Drew. That's the smartest choice you can make in college is to go where they want you the most.
If you want to play.
So I went, no visit, no nothing. And that was easily the best decision I ever made for myself. And I was telling this young man this yesterday, and I was probably talking to him for 30 minutes, which was probably 20 minutes too long. But I wanted to just impress upon him the truth.
And he probably needed that.
Yeah. Right. But what I wanted to tell him is that you are in the best position that you'll ever be in life. You just got out the military. You got a little job, making a little bit of money. You got kids? No. You married? No. You single? Great. Don't go and complicate your life. Set some goals for yourself. Make those goals. And give yourself a deadline and make that. You go to the 4-year school, be good there too. And if you got the opportunity to even try out for an NFL team, guess what? You made it farther than 99% of all your friends. Yeah. I said, then after that, make sure you get a degree in something you can do, after that. And I was just telling him, and he was like, man, you sound just like my dad. And I said, how old's your dad? I was just curious. His dad 3 years older than I am right now. I was just saying to myself, like, man, I was just thinking, like, you know what, man? I'm glad because I ran into somebody like Jason when I was 22. I was still 21 when I met him, right? And it's just like, because if you have the drive and determination, the right motivation will keep you in line. You see what I'm saying? And and luckily, the people who I surrounded myself with were about positivity and just getting better and going after what you want. I mean, Jason had me going on ride-alongs. I don't want to be a firefighter. Why don't you come over here? It'd be great. Great. Next thing I know, I'm in these travel trailers with this building on fire. We had a good time, but you know what I'm saying? I'm at 17 eating all the ice cream from C division and A division. Want somebody to say something?
But because for me, my thing is I believe in associations. I believe in creating associations. And I tell people all the time, I don't need anything. I could easily just become a hermit, stay at home, go to work only when I need to. I got a home, cars paid for, kids doing well. My life is great. But I also believe like people looked out for me and I want to be that person. And so that's why I said, because I do believe, and those people who know me know my passion is helping formerly incarcerated men get connected and to have opportunities to turn their lives around. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is associations are going to be key for us. Right. So like one of the things that we've been doing, they're doing these super walks for these politicians and stuff up north and stuff like that. So I'm like, if you want to be in a union, one of the things we do is civic engagement. You need to understand these people who are making decisions about your life. You need to know who they are, and you need to do some quid pro quo. Like, we'll walk for you, but what are you going to do for me? So you need to know them, but they also need to know you. Right. And so go around them and meet. And then what happens is they show up to these walks. They get to see these leaders, these other people in these industries that they want to be in. And guess what happens? Show up Monday and I got a job for you. Oh, and it happens a lot. So my point is that, yes, I do believe that there's untapped potential in every single person. But I don't think that everybody will respond. You know how many people that have been in my life just since I met you 22 years ago, right, that have totally ignored everything that I told them to do. Mm-hmm. I'm a recruiter now. Like I tell people how to get on the fire department, and people don't even listen. They don't even listen. Like people don't even listen to me. And I'm like, I can't believe it. Like, but and it trips me out because I know for me, all you need to give me is like you give me this much of an opportunity and it's going down. I'll never turn down a good opportunity or whatever if it makes sense for me. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So I try to bring people around folks that have the things that they want, but you have to have a natural inclination to be able to take advantage of it. I just don't know. And I guess what I want us to look at eventually and talk about is how do we, if we can, help those people who are not naturally inclined to do the things that are necessary.
You know what that is?
I just think you're different. I don't think you're like, I think Bishop Bowser, I think you're different than everybody else. You ain't the typical brother that, I'm serious, you're not.
Let me add this.
Maybe it's because you're more mature, because you're older now, but it's like, man, I bet you as a youngster, you took advantage of some stuff. You have some things that you shouldn't have had because of your personality and because of how you're naturally inclined. So I don't know.
No. What I want to say though is I think that's probably will be a result or the virtue of exposure. To expose people to that stuff. Okay. You put because some people they weren't denied opportunities. They were just never presented with opportunities. Right? Mm-hmm. Some people are just never exposed to opportunities. And that age-old saying, you don't know what you don't know, right? Right. So if you're just an A to B person with, tunnel vision and your blinders on, you'll never know that you can become a firefighter. Mm-hmm. You'll never know that you can be a paramedic. You'll never know all these other things that you can do that pay well, right? You'll just never know that. You'll never know, what goes on in California past Alpine. I don't know too many people who've been past Viejas or even El Centro. You? Or even Yuma.
Have I been or do I know?
You know a lot of people
that
go past country. Well, of course you have.
So have my kids.
Right, but
because I know, because I want them to be,
exactly, because you want that's the enemy to all that is traffic, right? If you don't know what you don't like for me, like I'll tell people, I joined the Navy because they promised me education benefits. But you know what the Navy really taught me? It showed me what I didn't want to do for the rest of my career. I didn't want to do it. Yeah, I had a good time, and thank you, Uncle Sam. But I didn't want to be in the Navy for 20 years. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to get out and go right to college. And they, I had an opportunity to play some football. Great. And they made me play fullback because they needed one. Turned out I was halfway decent. The rest was history. Right? Not to toot my own horn, but that's exactly what happened. And to this day, I credit Coach Moss, who was the then coach. He sat me down and said, hey, man, we need a fullback. You want to play fullback? I was like, I never played fullback in my life. He said, well, I'll teach you. I used to run at him as fast as I could in these drills and try to change directions. Coach Moss is every bit of 6'5", 250. I run right at him. I would try to avoid it. One time I did that and tried to shake him, and he hit me. And I went flying. Landed on my back. He was standing over me. Now, I told you to stop messing with me. I'm going to blow you up if you do that again. I was like, help me up, man. In front of everybody. I'm the biggest on the team, right? And they was like, wow, you let Coach drill you like that? I was like, hey, you probably don't know what to do it, bro. Hey, mom, you saw a real man. Be quiet. I said, every record in here.
Was this at McMurray?
At Mesa.
Oh, Mason.
Yeah, McMurray was holding the ball. Holding the ball.
Well, I think, I don't know. What do you got? I mean, I think, I think it's just important to recognize that opportunity is something that sometimes you only get once in a lifetime.
I forgot to mention something.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important for us to surround ourselves with other positive people, right? Who knows where I'd be if you didn't become my friend when I need you to be my friend that didn't even know, right? Because, you know what I'm saying? I mean, truth be told, I was just going in there for a haircut. These cats look like they could cut some brother's hair. Yeah. I ended up getting a lifelong friend, right? Yeah. I'm over here. We go over to the Thanksgiving. His mama white. Mm-hmm. She put marshmallows in the sweet potatoes. I want to jump out the window. Backyard full of carnival equipment. Uh-oh. His mom is the female Archie Bunker.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, yeah. His mama half, most of our kids is half black, but she want to call me colored. And my mom raised me so I would put a miss in front of the name. Miss Girl, is that what we doing? ain't nobody around now.
But let me just say this.
Real quick, hold on, Bishop, real quick, man. Y'all probably heard me say this before. This dude told me, I called him when my mom passed away. I don't know if I told you this, but, and he used to, and this dude told me, I said, hey man, mom's passed away, bro. This guy right here, hey man, mom's passed away. He said, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, bro. He said, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks. And I'll be right back on her again.
Right back on.
He went to my mom's funeral and got to clowning. He was clowning, bro. To this day, homie, people talk about this dude. And so, yeah, he's a mess.
So we find out today. I don't know if you know this pops.
Yeah. Thursday, I think he said.
And and I was saying, I met his pops on a few occasions. Great guy, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember when I first met him, he said, "Oh, you eat anything that starts with an N, don't you? And taters and this and that and this and bananas and all this." I was like, "Yeah, I eat it all." And we just laughing, because I was big. He was just always great. Well, I started to put a tribute on Facebook. I'm gonna show you. I don't know if you know what Jason's pops looks like, but I started to put a tribute on there. Let me show you.
You see what I'm saying, Mom? I mean,
I started to put a tribute.
Oh Lord!
I started to put a tribute.
Oh God!
On Facebook regarding Jason's dad, because that's what he looked like. Jason's pop looked like Grady Wilson from Sanford and Son. But Jay was like, "Drew, don't do that."
Oh, no, I didn't tell you nothing. No,
don't do that. It might be a sensitive crowd. Might come across that, and we all gonna get beat up.
That's funny. That. It's funny, man, to see It's funny to see, man, how we deal with this kind of stuff, man. And I respect and love the friendship that we've had over the years, and we've been and seen a lot of like incredible things together, good and bad, and just I guess for me, like in I think you wanted to mention something, but I guess in closing for me, and then everybody can close with what they want to close with. My pops did pass away, but the good thing that I'm super thankful when we're talking about young men being able to get hooked up, taking advantage of opportunities and stuff. I credit a lot of my tenacity in life to my parents. Both of my parents were go-getters. My dad was a civil rights junkie. My dad grew up in the 30s and 40s. You know what I'm saying? He's 87 years old. So I attribute those things to my father. I realized that part of my job is to be a good dad. My dad told me, you never really know what it is to be a man until I'm gone. You would never be a real man until I'm gone. And so he passed away. I'm on my own now, doing my thing. Very thankful. And I feel like it's my responsibility as a man to work with other brothers to help them to get to where they need to be in life, to provide opportunities. And you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of cats don't have that. A lot of people don't have supportive fathers, so, whatever. So that's why I'm just sort of big on being careful with the types of expectations that we put on people that may not have the opportunity to do what it is that I've been able to do in my life. And so that's why I'm keen on saying I think we need to recognize that there's some innate greatness that's in everybody, but there's also some roadblocks from who knows what. Some people do need just opportunity, and some people, no matter what you do for them, they won't get it. But I don't want to make that determination of who that is. And so that's why for me, when I meet folks, no, seriously, when I meet folks, I test the waters and I ask them what they want to do. And that's why when you said I'm a contractor, I've been in construction industry for 10 years now. I want to become a contractor. So, and I already know how you are. I've been telling you since the day you said you was going to study. You spent 18 hours a day studying for the test and pass. I told you I'm happy because I know you're the type of person. If Drew gets in a room with some people that can make decisions, he's going to make something happen. I know you're the same way. And it just, fortunately, I get to be around folks like you that think the same way that I do, that understand opportunities and understand what networking does. And so I guess for me, like the point of all of this for me is whether you join the police department to change or not, if you do get an opportunity to do something, take advantage of it. Take advantage of the opportunity and try to get to know people. Your associations will always outwork your skills. If you got problems with the police, it's good to be connected in the community with people that know the people that make decisions for the police department. Because there's a good chance that if you do have something that goes wrong with you at the police department, you will not know who to talk to because we're not taught those kinds of things. But there are people in the community that are doing it. So it's our job to let those people know those folks so that they can get their stuff taken care of. That's what I wanted to close with. I appreciate you guys watching this, but you guys can close with whatever you guys want to say.
I think one of the things, for what you said, Drew, is important in regards to having positive influence in your life.
Absolutely.
Because that, I think, is halfway there from the perspective of really being able to move forward and conquer your dreams, your whatever visions you have and carry them out, putting them in the plan and taking steps to make it happen. I think also what happens, in spite of, but not because of, when you talk about education and all these other different things that people get caught up in, trainings, whatever it is I think what happens with people and the reason why they're not able to think for themselves is because they don't know who they are. And not only do they not know who they are, but they don't have a definiteness of purpose, right? In life, they're drifting through life. And you might have some disciplines to get an education, to get a certificate or whatever, to get certified in a certain field of construction or whatever. But are you really living what you were born? Are you really doing what you were born to do? Are you living your true purpose in life? And are you waking up every day with a passion, with excitement, with a positive mindset and saying, yes, I'm living the dream. I'm living my dream. I'm living what I was put on this earth to do, right? And I think that that's what's more important than anything else. And what happens many times when you look at all these systems is it sets us up to fail in that, right? Yeah. You might succeed like in the way the world defines success and being a brilliant person, all these other kind of things, but you're really not living the life that you were born to live and that God created you to live. And I think that that's more important than anything else. And the only thing I'll close out, the only other thing I would say is what we were talking about earlier in regards to, we were talking about the police, and we were talking about get more black folks in there. And then I was talking about the system and how no matter who you are, black or whoever, and you can have a mindset to where that you want to change things, but they're going to beat you into submission, right? Even if you're able to think for yourself, they're going to beat you in submission. You said it perfectly, right? That if you want to succeed in this field or this business, this company or whatever, then you got to, do what you got to do to get there. You got to play the role or what have you. Right. And I think what happened, at least from what I'm seeing, what happens many times when people do that, they get to where they want to get. You live and find it, things like that, but you're not really what you really got in there for. You're not really doing it. Because I talk to people, we talk about police. I talk to officers that say they got in here because of the way they were treated as a black man and what you said make the difference, right? And they felt like if they can get on the 7th floor and all these other different things, become captain, whatever, I can make a difference. But now you're there, and I've called them on it too, like still not making a difference, right? But it's because what we're saying in regards to leadership, and when you're talking about changing the culture, and I just say, and I mentioned this several times before, and I'll mention it again, go look at Larry Krasner and what he's doing in Philadelphia, district attorney, and how he turned that system upside down. And, and there's some other folks that are coming into those kind of positions, and they're firing a lot of these people and turning things upside down. So my thing is that we are here for a purpose, and we should be making a difference in people's lives for the better, right? And I think, like, especially when you talk about black people and us coming out of slavery, those that came out of us, we're descendants of slavery. And our forefathers, that's where our even though our roots go deeper than that, because, we go back. But as far as in this country and today, I think, we face an oppressive or racist. You could be successful. I mean, you can be whatever you want to be, right? But I think it's very important for an individual, before they get caught up in these things, to know who they are, to have a purpose in life and stay focused on that. Because if you don't, I don't care how much money you got or what you're doing, what name recognition you have, how influential you are, you're drifting. You're drifting through life, and you're not really going towards what you're supposed to, towards your target, towards your goal, if you're not living your purpose. And I think a lot of times people throw that away or forget about it or start drifting because they get caught up in these systems. And hey, I gotta pay mortgage, I gotta pay rent, I got bill, I got this, or I want to get, I'm the director, I want to be the CEO, or whatever, And then they get so focused on that to where that they lose focus on what you're really here for. And so I think success is, when you talk about success, and I shared this with you all earlier, success is, as Earl Nightingale said, is that it is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. And that's why I always say, what's your goal? What you trying to aim to do? As an individual. But I don't believe that the Bible says love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And when you love your neighbor as yourself, it's not about you. It's about your love for yourself first, of course, and taking care of yourself first, of course. But it's really about your neighbor and what you do for your neighbor, because the Bible tells us what love is. And so if that's the case, then we're not just here for a selfish reason, right? Because love is not self-seeking. Love is not about all of that, right? Love is about caring for other people and helping other people, right? And so whatever we do, we should be helping other people change their lives and make a difference in this world.
Josie, close us down, bro.
Say
the benediction.
Well, I think, and just to kind of recap what we discussed, I think, and again, accountability, I think, having a functional network of, people that, you surround yourself with like-minded individuals, or people that, are kind of like that. That's why mentorship is so important, especially for, that critical stages in people's lives where, you're trying to get your education and then do this to be able to do whatever it is you want to do. I think that's super important. But I really think it all just a reinforcement of your sense of self. who you are as a person. My accountability starts and ends with me.
That's right.
We certainly won't pass the buck, right? So, if there's things that I want to do that, that I want to be a part of, something that I want to become in life, then I'm going to do it. And then, or at least I'm going to get started, because an engineer taught me one time, if you want to do something, or if you're going about doing something with all your heart, all your zest was the word that he used, sometimes an expert or someone else will see what you're doing, they'll recognize it, and then they'll come along and says, hey, I'm a little more experienced in this. Let me help you. Let me show you how to do it. He said, because, a lot of stuff is about trial and error, especially in life, right? But, and then for some of for those of us who can take criticism, right? Who can accept mentorship, who can do all those things, where someone can easily kind of come in and kind of help guide you along your way, and then every now and again, if you become distracted, they help hold you accountable, right?
Amen.
Because,
That's right.
We got to get back to, because who we are as individuals, human nature, all the time, we're constantly bombarded by things that are counterproductive to what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes to make it through all that requires just, grace of God and a little bit of luck. But when it really comes down to it, for me, it's just setting the right goal and doing what you need to do to get that goal. And then surrounding yourself with the same kind of people that's going to encourage you to do that.
That's
right. And remember to keep God a part of it. That's right.
Amen.
Well, this is good. No, I like it. Well,
Good closing.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you both for coming in. For those of you who watched that got off, a pretty good attendance tonight. I think we were probably a little long-winded for a lot of the folks.
Sorry about
And
that.
it's all good. Hey, we don't need to apologize. It's
The
okay.
first part.
40 minutes. It's about an hour and a half. We're about an hour and a half at this particular point. We're at an hour and 30 minutes. So it's cool. 3 people. We talked about a lot of stuff. So thank you all that joined us. We appreciate
Thank you.
Those of you who will watch it after today's date, Sunday, February 9th. It's always good to be able to kind of share our hearts for you all to join with us and listen to us. Thank you for the support. We want to get better at answering people who are commenting. I feel so bad.
That's
Drew had a ton of comments in there from the last video too. And I'm sorry, but
I want to add this one thing. A buddy of mine named Jeremiah Naismith, right? He lives in the DMV area, right? Okay. He
for the DMV, those of you that's the DC,
I'm sorry,
Maryland, Virginia area. It's the
Triangle.
the triplex.
Right. Well, he really wants to be to be able to weigh in on some of this stuff. So I think we should, have.
Does he have an iPhone?
A portion. I'm gonna assume he does.
We may be able to see if we can bring him in.
I think we should start to do something toward the end of our broadcast where we allow for dialogue where people would call in or FaceTime, whatever, so they can kind of chime in, because he logs in faithfully.
I'm gonna do it. Let's do it.
And he's a well-to-do brother too.
Let's do it. It don't matter what he's got going on. If he wants to be a part, we want everybody to be a part of it. So let's.
Because one thing I really enjoy is diverse dialogue. Like if you ever look at my Facebook post, let me post something about anything. My boy David Gunn, he be going off on
like it.
Yeah, he wild.
He's hilarious.
Good dude too.
I gotta meet him.
Yeah. But I just like dialogue because it allows you to see without judging.
Right.
Someone else's perspective that they are passionate about. And you could just be like, wow. Right? But at the end of the day, we are who we are. We believe what we believe. And,
we'll tell that brother next week, Lord willing, if we're here.
Right.
We'll call him up.
You may
Call him.
not be here.
I'll be here. I'll be here. My dad's funeral is coming up. Let's tell him we'll call him next week. But thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you. We love you. Hope you have a great week. And until next time, I guess.
Until next time, God bless.
Don't cuss because we're not off of YouTube yet.
I'm not cussing.